My beloved child, a trembling message is rising in your spirit right now, and it is no coincidence that your eyes have been guided here in this exact moment. Archangel Michael is standing closer to you than you have felt in months, and he is whispering the same words that shook the heavens. December 7th emergency. Only 16 seconds left. Not 16 minutes. Not 16 hours. 16 seconds. A countdown in the spirit that has already begun, and you are hearing this because the veil around your future has just been lifted. Let your heart stay still for a moment. Because this message isn't a warning of destruction, it is a revelation waiting to save you from something you didn't even see approaching. Archangel Michael said, "I saw their future, and I couldn't stop crying." But listen closely. He didn't cry out of fear. He cried out of divine urgency, for what was hidden around your life is now being exposed before the shift of December 7th arrives. Before today, he was not permitted to show you this. Before this moment, heaven itself kept this sealed. But now, the command has been released. Tell them. Let them open it. Now. And child, this message is for you. Right now there is a spiritual countdown hovering over the place where you sleep, the decisions you've been delaying, and the spiritual attack that has been waiting for the right weakness to strike. Something, or someone, has been draining your energy, your peace, or your focus. You've been feeling an unexplainable pressure on your chest at night, sudden anxiety, or an overwhelming sense that something is off around you, but you couldn't point to it. That wasn't imagination. That wasn't coincidence. That was the spiritual signal Archangel Michael has been trying to send you for weeks. Heaven saw what was planned behind your back. A conversation about you. A decision that involved you. A doorway someone thought you would never see. And Michael said, if they don't hear this now, their path will twist out of alignment. They must know before the clock completes its cycle. Child, this is where the shift begins. The reason Archangel Michael couldn't reveal this earlier is because your spirit wasn't positioned yet. You were distracted, exhausted, and spiritually drained by people and situations that were never meant to sit so close to your soul. But something changed recently, a prayer you whispered when no one heard you, a moment of surrender you offered in your loneliness, and heaven said, now they are ready. Now they must hear it. December 7th is not just a date. It is a spiritual checkpoint. A moment where your old timeline and your new destiny collide. There is something from your past that has been chasing you, an unfinished cycle, a relationship that left a wound, a betrayal you still don't speak about, or a fear you keep hiding from others. Archangel Michael is revealing that this December, it finally breaks. But before it breaks, it rises, and that is why he cried when he saw your future. He saw you on the edge of breakthrough, but also on the edge of being pulled back by the very thing you thought you had escaped. But here is the revelation you must not miss. Heaven is not exposing this to frighten you. Heaven is exposing this to empower you. Michael has placed a sword of clarity over your life. You will begin to see the truth about someone's intentions. You will sense the shift in someone's energy. You will feel the tightening of the countdown whenever you walk into a certain room, speak to a certain person, or think about a decision you've been delaying. This is your spiritual alarm clock ringing louder and louder as December 7th approaches. There are exactly two realms fighting over you right now. One wants to drag you backward. One wants to pull you forward. And you are standing in the middle of a prophetic crossroads. You have been asking God for a sign. You have been begging heaven for clarity. You have been waiting for confirmation. Child, this is that confirmation. This is that moment. This is that sign. Archangel Michael is guiding you through a divine unveiling, one that will show you who you can trust, who you must release, and what you must prepare for. And I need you to hear this clearly. The reason you are listening to this right now is because your spirit already knows something is about to shift sharply. Your dreams have changed. Your intuition has sharpened. Your emotions have been shaking loose. Your sensitivity has increased. This is not instability. This is revelation. Here is something meant for you, something powerful, something destined, something heaven had been protecting for years, that is finally ready to manifest. But before it does, the interference must be removed. The delay must be broken. The hidden intention must be revealed. And Michael is here to walk you through this with divine precision. Stay with this message. You are about to hear something in the next part that will make every strange feeling you've had over the past few weeks finally make sense. Hold on, this is only the beginning, and the next revelation will hit deeper than you expect. Chosen soul, something in your atmosphere is trembling right now, and if you pay close attention, you can almost feel a warmth brushing against your shoulders, as if someone is standing behind you. That presence is not random. Archangel Michael has stepped into your timeline, and his wings are spreading over the very spaces where you've been feeling unsafe, uncertain, or exposed. The revelation he is showing you now is the continuation of what he whispered earlier. Only 16 seconds left. Tell them before the shift arrives. This moment in your life is more fragile than you realize, not because you are weak, but because you are standing on a spiritual fault line that is about to split and reveal everything that has been hidden behind the scenes. You have been sensing something approaching, something heavy, something that shakes you awake in the middle of the night. Your dreams have been louder, your instincts sharper, and your sensitivity to people's energy has grown stronger. This is not overthinking. This is not anxiety. This is Archangel Michael tugging at your spirit, telling you, look again. Something is not what it seems. Before the events of December 7 take shape, heaven is preparing you to see the truth behind someone's behavior, someone's silence, someone's sudden distance, or someone's unexpected closeness. You have been noticing changes in the past few days, shifts in tone, subtle comments, unusual reactions, or emotional heaviness that appears out of nowhere. These are not coincidences. These are signals, indicators, divine warnings wrapped in everyday moments. Michael has been softening your senses so you can detect the movements of someone who isn't as pure-hearted as they pretend to be. The truth is this: someone around you has been carrying thoughts or intentions they never planned to reveal. They smile, but their spirit trembles. They speak kindly, but their energy pulls from you. They act supportive, yet something in their presence drains your peace like air escaping a balloon. You have been feeling this contradiction for a while, but you dismissed it because you did have proof. Archangel Michael is stepping forward now because the countdown is narrowing, and the exposure is approaching sooner than you expect. There is a spiritual pressure around your environment this week. You may have noticed objects falling suddenly, tightness in your chest, sudden waves of emotion, or random thoughts that feel out of place. These experiences are not random symptoms. They are the tremors of something breaking open in the unseen realm. Michael has been circling your home, checking the entry points of your life, and preparing to strike away the hidden darkness that has been watching you silently. You may have felt watched lately, not by eyes, but by an energy that lingers when you walk into a room or when you are alone with your thoughts. This is because the spiritual realm around you has been extremely active. Michael wants you to understand that you are not in danger, but you are in transition. And transition always exposes everything that was concealed. There is something someone said to you recently, something you brushed aside, something that slipped out of their mouth faster than they intended. That with the first crack, A second crack came when you felt an unexpected shift in your spirit after talking to them. The third crack appeared when you replayed a conversation and realized something didn't align. Michael is guiding you to reflect deeply because the truth will rise to the surface like oil on water. But here is the powerful part. This exposure is not meant to break you. It is meant to free you. It is meant to protect you. It is meant to prepare you for what heaven is releasing into your life in the coming weeks. You have been praying for clarity, stability, breakthrough, and protection. This is the answer. The exposure is the breakthrough. The revelation is the protection. The unveiling is the clarity. Michael hath been watching a spiritual attachment try to cling to your life, something born from a past decision, a past trauma, or a past relationship. It has been weakening over time, but it has been looking for one last chance to pull you backward. That is why heaven kept this message sealed until now. If you had heard it earlier, you wouldn't have recognized the signs. But now your discernment is sharper, your intuition is stronger, and your spirit is ready to receive what you were once too drained to understand. What Michael wants you to know is this. You are not imagining the pressure in your home. You are not imagining the tension in a connection. You are not imagining the sudden emotional shifts. These are signs of spiritual interference that is losing its grip because the truth is nearing its moment of exposure. December 7th is not the day something bad happens. It is the day something hidden collapses. Something that was built on pretense, deception, or manipulation will not survive the light that is approaching. There will be a moment very soon, a conversation, a message, a gesture, or a silence that will reveal everything. It will be so clear, so undeniable, so sharp that your spirit will immediately recognize Michael's hand in it. And when that moment comes, you will understand why he cried when he saw your future. Not out of fear, out of relief, out of compassion, out of love. Because he knew that once the exposure came, your life would shift into alignment faster than you imagined. Stay here with me. The next revelation will open a door in your understanding you didn't realize was locked. You'll want to hear what comes next, because the message deepens in a way that will speak directly to your spirit. Beloved one, there is a stirring inside you right now, a whisper that keeps returning even when you try to distract yourself. It is the same whisper Archangel Michael released when he said, "I saw their future, and I couldn't stop crying." In this moment, the atmosphere around you is shifting again, and you may even feel a subtle pull in your chest, like something is guiding you to pay attention. That is because this is the moment where the spiritual veil thins, and Michael reveals a deeper part of the message he was forbidden to show you until now. You have been walking through a season where your spirit has been more awake than your mind realized. Every disappointment, every delay, every strange interaction, every sudden emotion has been tied to something invisible that has been happening behind the scenes. Michael has been guarding your path, but for a long time he couldn't speak. He could only nudge you, warn you gently, give you dreams that felt symbolic, or push certain people out of your life through sudden shifts that you didn't understand at the time. But here, right now, the permission has been given. Heaven has said, unseal it. Reveal what was once hidden. There is a spiritual pattern rising around you. Something in your life feels like it keeps returning in cycles, people returning only to leave again, opportunities appearing only to fall apart, emotion settling then suddenly resurfacing. This repeating pattern is the very thing Michael is stepping forward to address. December 7th marks the moment where the pattern breaks. But before the pattern breaks, the root behind it must be exposed. Michael is showing me the image of a doorway, one that you walk through again and again, expecting a different room, but every time you open it, It leads to the same hallway of repeated lessons. This doorway represents an emotional attachment, a fear you haven't spoken about, or a belief you unknowingly carry that has shaped your decisions. Someone's words from the past still echo inside you. Someone's betrayal still holds a shadow in your memory. Someone's abandonment still sits in your chest like an unanswered question. You healed on the outside, but a part of you remains suspended in that moment, unable to fully step forward. Michael cried because he saw you standing in that doorway, ready to move into a future filled with clarity, abundance, love, and spiritual authority, but still tethered by something you didn't know how to release. He saw the timeline where you were trying to run but something kept pulling at your ankles. He saw the future where you nearly missed a divine opportunity because the past still whispered louder than your destiny. But now, because of this message, that tether is weakening. There is someone around you whose energy has shifted subtly, not outwardly, not in a way everyone would notice, but your spirit noticed. You felt a distance, a hesitation, or an odd pressure in your conversations with them. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that this person is at the center of the spiritual misalignment that has been affecting you. Not necessarily because they are bad, but because their intentions toward you have not been pure, stable, or aligned with the path heaven is calling you to walk. This person has been wrestling internally, torn between staying connected to you and withdrawing. Their spirit has been in conflict. Their choices have been inconsistent. Their presence in your life has become unstable. Michael has been watching this conflict because their indecision affects your spiritual momentum. When someone connected to your life is not aligned, your path becomes foggy. When someone meant to support you carries confusion, your atmosphere absorbs it. You have felt this, even if you couldn't explain it. The heaviness after certain conversations, emotional drop after certain moments, the sudden sense that something feels off. December 7th will bring something to the surface. And truth, a confession, a revelation, a shift. Something that has been hidden in silence is going to come forward. It may appear through someone's words, someone's absence, or someone's unexpected reaction. And when it does, you will feel the exact moment the countdown ends, because your spirit will suddenly feel lighter. Your mind will suddenly feel clearer. Your emotional space will suddenly feel free, as if a knot that has been tied for years finally comes undone. Michael wants you to know this. You are not losing anything. You are being protected. You are not being rejected. You are being redirected. You are not being abandoned. You are being positioned. The exposure is not a punishment. It is preparation. Heaven is preparing you for a new alignment, a new connection, a new chapter, a new peace that cannot be shaken by someone else's instability. Something powerful is coming your way, and the only reason this exposure is happening now is because heaven refuses to let anything unsteady contaminate your blessing. That is why Michael cried. He saw what was meant for you. He saw how big it is. He saw how close it is. And he knew that anything or anyone not grounded would crumble under the weight of your destiny. Stay with me now, because what unfolds next will reveal the specific sign Michael will send you before the exposure happens. Before you scroll away, understand this. The next revelation is where everything becomes unmistakably clear. Before we continue, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe if this message is speaking to you. It helps more souls receive the warning and the protection that heaven is releasing in this season. Type "I walk into truth" in the comments if this is stirring your heart. Blessing code 5572 has been activated. Just as this message has opened a door in your spirit, your support opens doors for countless others seeking the voice of God in their darkest moments. When you sow into this mission, you are not giving to a channel. You are extending light into the lives of souls who are standing on the edge of breakthrough, just like you. The Word says that those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed, and today, that promise becomes living and active over your life. I feel led to speak this directly. I am inviting you. Heaven is using this very message to remind you that generosity breaks spiritual cycles and releases new oil into your future. Your support through super thanks, membership, or PayPal carries the fragrance of obedience, and heaven never ignores the aroma of a willing heart. To every giver, may divine protection surround your home, your finances, and your path. Step into this act of faith and let God multiply the seed you release. Child of divine purpose, what you are feeling in this very moment is not confusion. It is awakening. Archangel Michael is opening the next layer of revelation, and with it comes the understanding you have been waiting for, an understanding that will make the last few weeks, the last few conversations, and the last few emotional shifts finally make sense. As this message unfolds, you may feel waves of heat, chills, or even a sudden calm washing over you. This is Michael aligning your spirit with truth so that nothing that comes next will catch you off guard. Heaven has seen the weight you have been carrying, weight that others never noticed because you hid it so well. Your smile covered exhaustion. Your silence covered disappointment. Your strength covered the ache that sat quietly behind your ribs. But Archangel Michael saw past all of it. He saw the way your spirit dimmed after certain encounters. He saw how your energy shifted when someone spoke to you in a tone that did not match their intentions. He saw how your dreams grew darker on nights when a certain individual crossed your thoughts. And he knew that if he didn't intervene now, you would continue walking with emotional shadows that were never meant to travel into your next season. There is a spiritual law unfolding around your life right now. Anything on a line must rise to the surface before breakthrough arrives. This is why the atmosphere around you has felt unsettled. This is why people have been acting differently. This is why you have felt sudden flashes of intuition, moments when your spirit whispered, "Pay attention," even when nothing obvious was happening. Michael has been guiding you toward this clarity step by step. He is showing me that someone in your environment has been operating from a place of insecurity or hidden fear, and instead of speaking openly, they allowed their confusion to settle into silence, distance, or mixed signals. You felt their hesitation, and it wounded you more deeply than you admitted. Not because you depended on them, but because you believed the connection was more stable than it actually was. Your inconsistency has caused spiritual ripples that affected your confidence, your emotional balance, and even your motivation at times. You may have asked yourself questions like, why did they change? What did I do wrong? Why does it feel like they're hiding something? Why am I suddenly so sensitive around them? Those questions were not born out of insecurity. They were born out of discernment. Michael wants you to know that your spirit picked up what your eyes could not see. A shift you felt was real. The pressure in your chest when they spoke was real. A sudden distance was real. The confusion they projected was not your energy. It was theirs leaking into you. And now, that energy is being exposed. This exposure is not about labeling someone as good or bad. It is about protecting your destiny. Heaven reveals what humans conceal. And in your case, something concealed has been slowing the flow of blessings that should have reached you already. There is a spiritual entanglement that has been draining your emotional clarity. Someone's indecision created a spiritual fog around your path, and Michael is now clearing it. He is showing me an image of you standing at the edge of a field, with two paths in front of you, one lit brightly, one dimly glowing. You kept trying to choose the brighter one, but a weight kept pulling you toward the dim path without your awareness. That weight was emotional residue from a connection that was not aligned. Every time you tried to move forward, a memory, a worry, or a confusion pulled you slightly backward. Every time you felt motivated, something drained your momentum. Every time you tried to detach, something pulled your thoughts back toward them. Michael has stepped in now because your spirit has reached the state of readiness required to break this pattern. December 7th is not just a prophetic date. It is the moment when what hath been hidden in someone's heart will become impossible to conceal. Whether through an unexpected conversation, a spontaneous emotional release, a sudden confession, or even a noticeable change in their tone or behavior, the truth will rise. This truth is not meant to break you. It is meant to free you from the silent burden you have been carrying. Michael is preparing your heart for a revelation that will bring both clarity and completion. Not heartbreak, completion. Not rejection, redirection. Not loss, alignment. Heaven have been orchestrating events with precision. People have been removed from your path abruptly. Opportunities have shifted. You have been pulled away from environments not meant for your growth. And though it felt sudden, everything was working toward this moment of clarity. Your spirit has matured. You no longer ignore your intuition. You no longer silence your inner knowing. And that spiritual maturity is why Michael was finally allowed to reveal what he has been holding back. He wants you to be ready for what happens next, because the next shift is big. Very big. There is a new season preparing to unfold, one where truth guides you instead of confusion, where your strength returns, where your energy rises, and where your heart finally breathes. Before we continue into the next revelation, hold still for a moment and let your spirit absorb this truth. Nothing that is leaving your life is meant for the journey ahead, and nothing that is coming next will require you to shrink, doubt, or question your worth. Sacred One, as you read these words, your spirit is opening like a window catching the first light of dawn. There is a shift happening inside you that you cannot fully explain, yet you can feel it as clearly as your own heartbeat. Archangel Michael is stepping even closer now, guiding you through the deeper chambers of this revelation. What he is about to show you is not just information. It is preparation. It is protection. It is alignment for the destiny you are stepping into. For days, weeks, or even months, you have been carrying an inner tension that you couldn't identify. You felt torn between what your heart hoped for and what your spirit sensed. You felt the difference between someone's words and someone's energy. You sensed the gap between what they showed you and what they hid. Every time they spoke of care, something inside you wondered, but why does this still feel heavy? That heaviness was Michael's warning. That whisper of discomfort was heaven trying to nudge you toward truth. You see, the spiritual world always knows what the physical world hasn't revealed yet. Heaven saw the thought someone carried toward you long before their actions started showing traces of instability. Heaven saw the emotional confusion that this person tried to hide behind charm, silence, or distraction. Heaven saw the moment their intentions shifted, even if they kept smiling. And heaven saw how much their uncertainty would impact your heart if the truth was not exposed in time. Michael has been guarding you, not from danger, but from misalignment. From choosing someone whose spirit was not steady enough to walk beside your destiny. From giving your energy to someone who was still battling their own shadows. From investing emotionally in someone who could not meet you at the depth of your calling. This is why things began to feel off even when nothing appeared wrong. This is why your spiritual senses sharpened suddenly. This is why small things started to bother you, things you previously ignored. Your soul began recognizing something your mind had not yet processed. The truth is simple, child. Your spirit knew long before your eyes did. Michael shows me an image of your spirit standing tall and bright, while the energy of the person connected to you wavers like flickering light. This flicker represents their inconsistency, their fear, their confusion, their inner turmoil. They have feelings they don't know how to express. They have wounds they haven't healed. They have responsibilities pulling at them. They have doubts they never shared. And instead of being honest, they allowed you to absorb the emotional static of their internal battle. You felt that static as anxiety. You felt it as overthinking. You felt it as insecurity. You felt it as confusion. But none of it was yours. Michael is peeling this away from you now. He is removing the emotional residue of someone else's chaos from your spirit. You may feel lighter even as you read this, as if invisible weights are dissolving from your chest. That is not imagination. That is healing beginning. December 7th approaches like a divine spotlight. It is not a day of disaster. It is a day of unveiling. A moment when truth bursts through shadows. Something is going to come to the surface, through a word, a silence, a sudden change in their behavior, or a situation that reveals what they could no longer hide. This revelation will not break you. It will liberate you. It will confirm everything your intuition whispered. It will show you why heaven intervened so strongly. And once this truth is shown, something powerful happens. The emotional fog leaves. The confusion lifts. The spiritual weight drops. And suddenly, clarity becomes your atmosphere. You will see yourself differently. You will see your worth differently. You will see your future differently. The moment of exposure becomes the moment your destiny expands. Michael wants you to understand that there is nothing wrong with your ability to love. You love it deeply because it is your nature. You cared because your heart is pure. You believe because your spirit is trusting. These are strengths, not weaknesses. The only misalignment was that the person connected to you was not stable enough to receive the depth of your sincerity. But heaven is doing something remarkable. The exposure does not end with clarity. It opens a new spiritual path. Once this truth rises, someone new, aligned, grounded, and spiritually mature will feel the opening in your life. People aligned with your destiny will begin entering your path. Opportunities will start flowing again. Your energy will rise. Your peace will strengthen. Your focus will return. You will feel like you are finally breathing fully again. The shift is already happening. Your dreams have changed. Your emotions are resetting. Your intuition is sharpening. Your spirit is preparing. Michael stands guard during this transition. His sword is raised not in battle, but in protection. He is cutting the final spiritual cords tying you to confusion. The moment these cords snap, your future becomes clear again. Stay with this message. You are now entering the section where the exact sign Michael will send you becomes visible. You will want to hear every detail, because recognizing this sign will guide your next move with precision. Beloved soul, there is a quiet trembling happening in your spirit right now, a subtle awakening unfolding as Archangel Michael draws you deeper into the revelation. What you feel inside your chest, that soft pull, that rising heaviness or lightness, is the resonance of truth preparing to settle. You are entering a moment of spiritual clarity that many never reach because most ignore the early warnings, the subtle signs, the inner whispers. But you did not ignore them. You felt them. You sensed the change before you could name it. And that sensitivity is the very reason Michael was finally permitted to bring you into this next layer. The truth is this: heaven has been moving things in your life with surgical precision. Removing what weakens you, exposing what confuses you and strengthening what was once fragile inside you. That emotional tension you carried was not weakness, it was transformation. The uneasiness you felt was not instability, it was spiritual alignment pressing against everything that wasn't meant to follow you forward. And the silence you stepped into recently was not emptiness, it was preparation. Michael shows me that something in your life has been shifting quietly in the background. You may not see the full picture yet, but your spirit senses that something is approaching. A change, a revelation, a moment that will define the next chapter of your journey. You may feel nervous at times or unusually calm at others. That fluctuation is part of the spiritual adjustment taking place within you. There is someone whose presence in your life has felt slightly unpredictable. Their words have softened, but their energy has become harder to read. At times they feel close, at times they feel distant. Sometimes they seem invested, sometimes uninterested. This inconsistency has not been random. It has been a reflection of their internal struggle. Michael reveals that they carry something they have not expressed. A fear, a responsibility, a guilt, a desire they cannot commit to. Something that keeps them emotionally bound in a place that is not aligned with where you are going. Their mixed energy is what your spirit has been reacting to. You are not confused. You are discerning. You are not overthinking. You are perceiving. You are not imagining things. You are spiritually awake. You have always been sensitive to shifts in people's spirit, even when they said nothing. That sensitivity is a gift, not a curse. And right now, it is guiding you toward truth. The heaviness you felt after speaking with them, the excitement that quickly faded, the doubt that grew louder after certain interactions, those were spiritual signals. Michael has been trying to show you that what you sensed was real, and what looked stable on the surface had hidden cracks underneath. But here is where the revelation deepens. The exposure that is coming is not just about this person. It is about you. It is about who you are becoming. It is about the version of yourself that has been quietly forming behind the pain, behind the disappointments, behind the misunderstandings, behind the waiting. There has been a spiritual strengthening inside you that even you have not fully recognized. Every tear you cried refined you. Every delay protected you. Every disappointment redirected you. Every confusion sharpened you. You are stepping into a version of yourself that no longer tolerates half-truths, emotional instability, or spiritual misalignment. You are rising into clarity with such authority that anyone unsure of their intentions toward you will be revealed instantly. That is why the exposure is happening, because heaven refuses to let unclear people accompany you into a destiny that requires precision. Michael shows me a scene, you standing at the center of a room filled with shifting shadows. One by one, the shadows fall away, leaving only truth illuminated. That is what is happening now. Illusions are falling. Pretenses are fading. Hidden emotions are surfacing. The spiritual fog is clearing. And through all of this, your spirit is gaining strength. There is something else Michael wants you to understand. The emotional intensity you've been experiencing lately, whether it has been anxiety, pressure, sadness, confusion, or sudden moments of peace, is part of your spiritual calibration. Your soul is adjusting to new frequencies, leaving behind old energetic connections that once felt familiar but no longer fit who you are becoming. You may have felt tired recently, not physically but spiritually. That is because your spirit has been doing deep work. You may have felt moments of loneliness even when people were around. That is because heaven separated you temporarily to reconnect you with yourself. You may have felt a sudden distance from someone you once felt connected to. That is because your spirit recognized a misalignment your heart wasn't ready to face yet. But now, the veil is lifting. December 7th is approaching, and with it comes the moment when the truth will pierce the situation. Something will be said, done, revealed, or quietly acknowledged that will shift the entire atmosphere around you. It may not be dramatic. It may not be emotional, but it will be unmistakable. And when it happens, your spirit will feel an immediate shift, a release, a lightness, a clarity, a confirmation. Michael wants you to remember this. The exposure is not happening to hurt you. It is happening to free you from emotional entanglements that have been slowing down your spiritual progress. You are entering a season where only truth can stay. Only alignment can stay. Only stability can stay. Every unclear connection will be exposed. Every hidden intention will be revealed. Every unspoken emotion will surface. Every spiritual distraction will be removed. Stay close to this message. The next revelation will open the exact sign that will appear before the truth unfolds. You will want to hear every word of what is coming next. Precious soul, as you come into this moment, breathe gently, for the atmosphere around you is thick with meaning. Archangel Michael is now guiding you into one of the most delicate layers of this revelation, a layer that touches the deepest places within your spirit. Everything you have sensed, every emotional tremor, every intuitive whisper, every moment of sudden clarity, has been pointing toward what is unfolding right now. Your spirit knows something is nearing its point of truth. It can feel the weight of what has been hidden rising to the surface, and heaven has chosen this moment to prepare you, so you do not mistake the coming sign when it arrives. Michael has been watching closely, not just the people around you, but the internal shifts happening within you. He has seen how the truth has begun to settle in your chest like a soft, steady light. You are starting to see things differently. You are starting to hear beneath people's words. You are starting to notice what your spirit reacts to, even when your mind tries to dismiss it. This sensitivity is not random. It is not emotional chaos. It is spiritual activation. You are awakening to clarity in a way that cannot be reversed. There is something unusual that has been happening inside you recently. Certain memories keep resurfacing, even ones you had forgotten. Certain conversations replay in your mind without warning. Certain interactions feel heavier than they should. This is your spirit processing truth before your mind fully understands it. Michael is clearing out the emotional clutter that once clouded your perception. And as he does, your inner sight is sharpening with speed. What you are experiencing is the thinning of a spiritual veil. When this happens, signs begin to appear more frequently, and nothing feels accidental anymore. A message arrives at the perfect moment. A thought flashes through your mind without warning. Someone's tone suddenly sounds different. Someone's presence feels different. Someone's silence becomes louder. These are not coincidences. These are nudges. These are alerts. These are warnings dressed as subtle moments. Michael is revealing that someone in your life has reached a point where they can no longer hide what they once concealed. They have tried to mask their feelings and their uncertainty with their intentions. They have tried to stay composed, even as their spirit trembles. But internal conflict cannot stay invisible forever. The spiritual realm always exposes what the physical world tries to conceal. You may have noticed recently that their energy shifts when they speak to you. Your words may still sound familiar, but something underneath feels different. There is hesitation where there used to be confidence. There is distance where there used to be closeness. There is inconsistency where there used to be stability. These signs are not mistakes. They are the early fragments of a deeper revelation. Michael shows me the image of a curtain being pulled back slowly, allowing light to seep in through cracks. The exposure that is coming does not arrive all at once. It begins subtly, through tiny signals that prepare your heart gently. And you have already sensed those signals, even if you doubted yourself, even if you questioned whether you were imagining things. Your spirit was right. It always has been. But here is where the revelation intensifies. Michael is not only showing you the signs of what is coming, he is preparing you to recognize the one sign that will confirm everything. This sign allows you to step fully out of confusion and into certainty. Before the exposure fully arrives, there will be a moment where you feel a sudden shift in your atmosphere. It may happen in the middle of a conversation or during a moment of silence. It may occur when you are thinking about this person or when you are focused on something completely different. But you will feel it. It will hit your spirit like a pause, as if time holds still for a heartbeat. And then, something unusual will happen. Either they will reach out unexpectedly, or they will pull away more sharply, or they will speak something that reveals their truth, or they will act in a way that contradicts every word they ever spoke, or their silence will suddenly feel louder than any explanation. This will be the moment the curtain fully lifts. This will be the sign Michael has been preparing you for. The moment this happens, your spirit will instantly understand. It will not feel like confusion. It will feel like confirmation. It will feel like a quiet voice inside whispering, "This is the truth. This is what you needed to see." And when it comes, you will not break. You will not fall apart. You will rise. Because your spirit hath been preparing for this long before Michael revealed the message. What is coming is not a loss. It is a release. It is the final unlocking of emotional clarity that will position you for the elevation waiting on the other side of this revelation. Michael wants you to know something deeply important. You were never meant to carry the weight of someone else's uncertainty. You were never meant to be drained by someone else's confusion. You were never meant to shrink yourself to hold space for someone who does not yet know how to stand firmly. He's cutting the spiritual cords that tied you to instability. And once those cords are fully severed, nothing will hold you back. Your strength is returning. Your clarity is rising. Your destiny is opening. Your spirit is stepping forward. Stay with this message. The next layer will not only reveal the meaning behind the coming sign, but will show you what heaven is preparing on the other side of it. Trust me when I say this. The next words may be the ones your heart has been waiting for without realizing it. Beloved one, as you step into this next chamber of the message, the air around you feels heavier, yet clearer. This is because Archangel Michael is moving you closer to the heart of the revelation, where truth and destiny intersect. You may feel an odd sensation rising within you, a stirring in your chest, a subtle pressure, a quiet anticipation that builds with every word. That feeling is not anxiety. It is alignment. It is your spirit preparing to receive what it has been waiting for, even if your mind has not yet caught up. All this time, heaven has been guiding you gently, piece by piece, through the maze of your own emotions. You have been walking through confusion, uncertainty, and sudden insights that appeared like flashes of lightning. But child, those flashes were not random. They were Michael showing you pieces of a truth that could not be revealed all at once. If he had shown you everything earlier, your heart would not have been ready. But now, your spirit has expanded. Now, the veil can lift more boldly. What you must understand in this moment is that the spiritual world always moves before the physical world shows signs. This is why you felt a shift long before anything was visible. This is why you sensed someone's heart pulling back before they expressed it. This is why you felt the heaviness of their confusion even when they tried to appear stable. You were not imagining it. You were sensing it. You were perceiving a spiritual reality before it reached the surface. Michael has been preparing you to stand in a place of clarity, not through force, but through revelation. And now he is showing me the image of a thin, fragile thread that once connected you to someone emotionally. This thread has been weakening for weeks, and every intuitive whisper you felt, every moment of unease, every sudden emotional shift, was the thread unraveling. Not because you failed, not because they failed, but because heaven never intended for a fragile thread to carry the weight of your purpose. The truth is this: the exposure happening in your life is not just about someone's intentions. It's about your spiritual positioning. You are being moved into a realm where confusion cannot enter. You are being elevated into a state where emotional instability cannot accompany you. This is not punishment. This is protection. This is heaven making sure that nothing weak or uncertain stands between you and what is coming. Michael reveals that the sign you are about to see will not only confirm what you sensed, but it will open a spiritual doorway you have been unknowingly waiting for. There will be a moment, a sudden shift, where the atmosphere around you changes. This moment may come through a message, a conversation, a silence, or even through something you observe indirectly. But when it comes, your spirit will immediately recognize it. Not with fear, not with sadness, but with a strange, unexpected peace. That peace is Michael's signature. It is his way of whispering, "This is the truth. Now step forward." What you must prepare for is this: after the moment of exposure, you will feel an emotional release inside you. Something that felt stuck will finally loosen. Something that felt heavy will lift. Something that felt confusing will suddenly become simple. Clarity will settle into your chest like warm water. And in that moment, you will understand why nothing worked the way you expected before. It was because heaven was protecting you from stepping into a future with someone who was not spiritually or emotionally aligned with your calling. Michael is reminding you gently that you deserve someone whose spirit stands steady, not someone who wavers. You deserve someone who knows what they feel, not someone lost in their inner conflict. You deserve someone who brings peace, not confusion. Someone who mirrors your loyalty. Someone whose presence strengthens your spirit instead of draining it. Someone whose energy does not shift with every passing fear or unhealed wound. And because heaven knows the magnitude of what you are destined for, anything or anyone uncertain cannot remain connected. This is why the exposure is coming. It is not rejection. It is redirection. It is the divine clearing of a path so your blessings can reach your life without obstruction. What you do not see yet, but what Michael is showing clearly, is that after this exposure, a new season opens, the kind of season where alignment flows effortlessly. Relationships become clearer. Connections become truer. Opportunities begin to rise without resistance. Your emotional energy becomes lighter and sharper. Your spirit becomes stronger. Your worth becomes undeniable. You are stepping into one of the most important transitions of your journey. Stay close. Stay aware. This next layer will show you not only what will be released from your life, but what heaven is preparing to bring toward you. Do not look away now. The next revelation will speak directly to your future, not just your present. Before we continue, take a moment to like, comment, share, subscribe, and help push this message into the lives of those who urgently need this divine clarity. When you interact, you become a carrier of prophetic alignment for others. Type "I receive the shift" in the comments if you feel this unfolding inside you. Blessing code 3345 is now active. Just as this message has protected your spirit, your support helps protect thousands more who are battling silent storms in their hearts. When you sow into this mission, You are not giving to a creator. You are extending heaven's hand to someone who might be one message away from breakthrough. The Lord is declaring over you, those who pour into my work will never walk empty, and today that promise comes alive in your atmosphere. I feel led to say this personally. I am inviting you. The same anointing that shields your home through this message is released upon every seed you plant through Super Thanks membership, or the PayPal link in the description. May the oil of divine clarity, provision, and protection overflow into your life for every act of spiritual partnership. Step boldly and watch heaven multiply your obedience. Dearest soul, as you step into this next part of the message, the spiritual atmosphere around you begins to thicken with truth. Archangel Michael is guiding you into a deeper understanding, one that pulls together every intuitive whisper, every emotional shift, every strange moment of awareness you have experienced recently. You may notice even now that something inside you feels tense, alert, or strangely prepared. That inner tension is not fear. It is recognition. Your spirit already knows that what you are about to hear is connected to a truth you have been sensing but could not articulate. Michael has been showing me that the exposure approaching your life is not a small moment. It is a spiritual pivot point. A moment that separates the person you have been from the person you are about to become. And though it may seem as if the exposure is centered around another individual, the deeper revelation is actually about you, your growth, your elevation, your destiny. For too long, you have been holding emotional space for someone who had been uncertain. You gave sincerity while they gave hesitation. You offered clarity while they remained confused. You extended trust while they guarded themselves. You tried to stay consistent while their presence fluctuated like shifting tides. This imbalance has been quietly draining your spirit, and you didn't even realize how much you were carrying until recently. That exhaustion, that heaviness, that internal conflict you felt, it was never yours to carry. It was the consequence of aligning with someone who was not aligned within themselves. Michael is revealing now that this person has been wrestling with their own emotions, their own fears, their own insecurities. They have been torn between what they feel and what they can handle, between what they want and what they fear losing. Their silence, their mixed signals, their distance, it all came from an unresolved battle inside them that they tried to hide. But what is hidden cannot remain hidden when heaven is involved. The spiritual realm will always reveal what humans try to suppress. You may have felt moments recently where your heart felt confused but your spirit felt firm. You may have had days where something inside you told you, without reason, that something was shifting. You may have felt a sudden pull toward truth, a strange urge to detach, or a rising clarity that didn't match what you were being told. These moments were Michael preparing you for what comes next. The sign that will appear might come through a sudden conversation, a confession, an unplanned interaction, or even a moment of silence that says more than words ever could. This sign will not hurt you the way you might fear. Instead, it will release you. It will give you understanding that removes the emotional fog you have been living in. You will recognize instantly why certain things never aligned, why certain promises were always delayed, why certain conversations felt incomplete, why their presence always carried a subtle tension. The moment this sign appears, something powerful will shift inside you. The emotional weight you've been holding will begin to dissolve. The confusion that clouded your thinking will lift. The attachment that felt unbreakable will suddenly loosen. You will feel clarity like a sunrise after a long night. You will feel yourself coming back to life in ways you didn't realize you had been dimmed. Michael wants you to know that this exposure is not the end of anything meaningful. It is the protection of everything sacred. It is the divine shielding of your heart from connecting too deeply with someone who cannot currently meet you with the stability and certainty you deserve. It is heaven realigning your emotional world so that the next chapter of your life begins without the interference of someone else's unresolved fears. And here is the most powerful part. Once this exposure settles, a new alignment begins to form around you. Your spirit begins to attract people who are ready to value you, ready to support you, ready to speak truth without hiding, ready to walk beside your calling without shrinking. You step into a version of yourself that no longer tolerates emotional instability. You step into relationships that resonate with your spirit rather than drain it. You step into opportunities that match your destiny rather than delay it. Michael shows me the image of a path once blocked now opening wide. The exposure removes the obstruction, clears the fog, and reveals the landscape ahead. Suddenly, what once felt confusing becomes obvious. What once felt heavy becomes light. What once felt uncertain becomes the direction. You will notice this change in your body as well. Your breathing will feel easier. Your mind will stop looping old conversations. Your emotions will settle like calm water. Your heart will beat differently, steadier, clearer and lighter. Your energy will rise in ways you haven't felt in a long time because you will no longer be carrying what was never yours to carry. Something in your spirit is already responding to this revelation. You can feel the truth even before it arrives physically. The closer the exposure gets, the more your intuition awakens, the more your inner voice strengthens, the more your emotional clarity returns. And when the exact sign appears, and it will, you will not panic. You will not crumble. You will not question your worth. Instead, you will feel a deep knowing settle in your soul, the knowing that heaven intervened to protect your future, not disrupt your present. Stay close to this message. What comes next will reveal what heaven is preparing to bring into your life after the exposure, something far greater than what you thought you were losing. Beloved heart, as you step into this next layer of revelation, you may feel a gentle tension rising inside of you, as if your soul itself is leaning closer. That sensation is important. It means your spirit is awake, alert, and aligned with what Archangel Michael is preparing to reveal. You are no longer just hearing this message, you are absorbing it. You are no longer just listening. You are transforming. Heaven has been working on your heart in ways you do not yet see, and this moment marks another turning point in that hidden work. Michael shows me a powerful image right now. You standing at the edge of a shoreline as waves pull back in a long, deep withdrawal. When waves recede that far, it is because something greater is building underneath. This is the exact spiritual season you are in. The emotional withdrawal you felt from someone, the silence you sensed but couldn't explain, the shift that left you confused. All of it had been part of a larger spiritual movement. What felt like something being taken from you was actually heaven pulling back the old tide so a greater wave could rise. You have been experiencing emotional echoes lately, moments where you suddenly remember something someone said, or you replay an interaction that seemed unimportant at the time. Pay attention to these moments. They are not random. They are not overthinking. They are the final movements of your intuition pulling scattered pieces together before the truth fully steps forward. The closer the exposure gets, the louder these echoes become. Michael is making sure you do not miss what your spirit is already trying to show you. There is something else stirring beneath the surface of this message. Michael is revealing that someone you cared about, or someone who carried emotional influence in your life, has been experiencing a spiritual heaviness of their own. They have been carrying fear, confusion, or emotional instability that has nothing to do with you, yet it has been spilling into your connection with them. They did not know how to handle their own internal storm, so they began withdrawing, hesitating, or acting in ways that felt unexplained. You sensed this long before you understood it. Your spirit felt the truth beating beneath their silence. This person has reached a point where they can no longer hold back the truth of what they feel or fear. The emotional mask they once wore is thinning. Their inner conflict is becoming visible. And soon, something will slip through. The revealing sign Michael has been preparing you for. Whether it comes through words, actions, avoidance, or a moment of raw honesty, you will know it instantly. It will not shock you. It will not destabilize you. It will simply confirm what your soul already knew. Michael wants you to remember that you are not losing anything that was meant for your future. You are not being punished. You are not being rejected. You are being repositioned. The exposure is not happening to take something from you. It is happening to protect what is being prepared for you. Heaven is clearing emotional clutter out of your path so your destiny does not collide with instability. There will come a moment soon where your heart feels a sudden clarity, like something clicks into place. You may not even hear it in words. It may simply arrive as an undeniable shift inside you. A moment when your mind stops questioning. A moment when your emotions stop fighting. A moment when your spirit steps forward and says, "I finally see it." That moment will be the beginning of your liberation. You have been carrying emotional weight that did not belong to you. You have been holding expectations that someone else was never ready to fulfill. You have been trying to stabilize a connection that was shaking because the other person was shaking internally. And now, heaven is stepping in to break the cycle you could not break alone. Michael shows me that after the exposure, something remarkable begins. You begin to return to yourself. You begin to remember who you were before confusion touched your heart. You feel your energy rising. You feel your confidence returning. You feel your spirit breathing again. You will wake up one day and realize that the heaviness you carried for so long is suddenly gone. You may even wonder how you carried it for so long without seeing the weight for what it was. The emotional fog will clear, and in its place, a profound peace will settle. A peace that does not depend on answers from others. A peace that does not depend on someone else choosing clarity. A peace that comes from finally aligning with truth. But what Michael wants you to hear most in this moment is this. After the exposure, heaven will bring something unexpected into your path. A connection, an opportunity, a shift, or a blessing that aligns with your spirit in a way that nothing before ever has. You will not have to chase it. You will not have to question it. You will not have to guess. It will feel steady. It will feel pure. It will feel aligned with the version of you that is emerging right now. And when that moment comes, you will understand why heaven had to remove everything unstable before it arrived. This is not the end of something. This is the clearing of space for something greater, something more aligned, something destined. Stay close to this message. What comes next will reveal exactly what heaven is preparing to bring into your life after the emotional clearing. The next words will speak directly into your future in a way that will make your spirit rise. Chosen soul, as you enter this next phase of the revelation, the atmosphere around you is shifting once again, quietly, powerfully, unmistakably. Archangel Michael is drawing your spirit forward as if guiding you through a narrow passage where the air is heavy with meaning. You may feel a strange warmth rising in your chest or a stillness settling over your thoughts. This is your inner world preparing itself for what comes next. You are no longer standing on the edge of this message. You are in the center of it, surrounded by truth that is unlocking piece by piece. Michael leans closer now, revealing a depth you were not ready for earlier. He shows me something extraordinary. The emotional unraveling you have been experiencing was not destruction. It was purification. Every moment of confusion, every sudden heaviness, every shift in energy, every tense silence you observed, each one was heaven separating you from what would have hindered the next stage of your life. When spiritual elevation is near, anything that cannot rise with you begins to fall away. This is why certain relationships, certain conversations, and certain expectations have begun to fracture quietly in your life. It is not coincidence. It is divine reordering. You see, the exposure you have been prepared for is only one side of the revelation. The other side, the part Michael has been guarding until now, is the rebuilding, the renewal, the restoration. What heaven is preparing to place in your life after this emotional clearing is far greater than what is being removed. You may not see it yet, but your spirit feels it. That quiet sense of anticipation that appears out of nowhere. That is the future calling you. That sudden confidence rising inside you. That is heaven strengthening what was once weakened. That growing clarity that seems to replace confusion one piece at a time. That is your destiny aligning with your path. Michael shows me a vision of you walking forward on a path that once felt dimly lit but is now glowing brighter with every step. Your heart is no longer dragging weight behind it. Your spirit is no longer struggling against uncertainty. You are being prepared for a season where emotional heaviness no longer defines your days. A season where peace becomes normal, not rare. A season where you attract people who do not merely want your presence, they honor it. People who do not simply admire your strength, they match it. People whose spirits are rooted enough not to shake your foundation. But before the season begins, heaven needs you to understand what has truly been happening within you. You have not been breaking down. You have been breaking open. You have not been losing clarity. You have been gaining discernment. You have not been abandoned. You have been redirected. You have not been set aside. You have been set apart. There is a difference, and Michael wants you to feel it deeply. The emotional unraveling was necessary because heaven was removing the final attachments to a version of yourself that no longer serves your calling. You have been carrying emotional memories, patterns, and expectations from old seasons that do not belong in your next chapter. This is why you felt a sudden inner shift in recent weeks. Your spirit was stepping out of old wounds and stepping into new alignment. The exposure you sensed is not the end of the journey. It is the unlocking of the doorway. And what stands on the other side of that doorway is a version of your life that looks nothing like the one you are leaving behind. Opportunities that were once blocked suddenly opening. Relationships that once drained you fading away, making room for those who uplift you. Emotional clarity rising in ways you never thought possible. A renewed sense of identity forming in your spirit like a sunrise breaking over dark waters. Michael wants you to know that the heaviness you've been carrying recently was not a sign of failure. It was the stretching that happens right before expansion. It was the cracking that happens right before release. It was the trembling that happens right before clarity arrives. Heaven allowed you to feel that emotional pressure because pressure reveals what comfort hides. Pressure exposes truth. Pressure clarifies intention. Pressure prepares the spirit for revelation. And now, the revelation is nearly complete. There is something beautiful approaching your life, a blessing, a connection, a shift, a breakthrough that carries stability, sincerity, and divine timing. Heaven did not want this blessing tainted by emotional confusion or weighed down by someone else's inner turmoil. This is why the exposure was necessary. This is why the emotional cleansing took place. This is why Michael intervened with such urgency. Heaven is making space for something that aligns with your spirit, not your wounds. something that empowers you, not drains you, something that lifts you higher, not pulls you backward. You may not know exactly what this blessing is yet, but you will feel it arrive long before you see it. Your peace will rise. Your intuition will sharpen. Your sleep will deepen. Your heart will feel lighter. Your steps will feel guided. Signs will begin appearing with greater frequency. You will feel heaven preparing the way in your atmosphere. Michael wants you to trust what you feel. The clarity rising in your spirit now is not temporary. It is permanent. You are stepping out of emotional fog and into divine focus. You are stepping out of uncertainty and into alignment. You are stepping out of cycles and into purpose. Stay with this message. The next part will reveal the final movement of this prophetic sequence, the culmination, the purpose, and the blessing heaven has been preparing you for from the very beginning. Beloved child of destiny, you have reached the final chamber of this message, and even before the words unfold, you can feel it. Something inside you is rising, expanding, awakening. This is not just the conclusion of a revelation. This is the crossing of a spiritual threshold. Archangel Michael has been preparing you for this precise moment from the very first whisper, and now he stands before you with the final clarity that your spirit has been yearning for beneath every confusion, beneath every silence, beneath every change that has shaped you in recent weeks. Take a breath, for what is about to be spoken is sacred. It carries completion. It carries release. It carries your next season within it. Michael is revealing now that everything you have endured emotionally, every tear you hid, every unanswered question, every quiet ache, every moment you felt pulled backward, every shift you sensed but couldn't explain, was part of a divine progression. Heaven was not ignoring you. Heaven was preparing you, preparing your heart to detach from what was unstable, preparing your mind to see truth without fear, preparing your spirit to rise into alignment with your calling. Every emotional crack you felt was a place where light was trying to enter. The exposure that has been approaching your life is not punishment. It is purification. The emotional unraveling was not abandonment. It was transformation. The uncertainty you felt from someone close to you was not a sign of your inadequacy. It was a sign of their unreadiness. Heaven has been separating you gently, piece by piece, from relationships, expectations, and emotional entanglements that could not support the weight of your destiny. You have outgrown the version of yourself that tolerated inconsistency. You have outgrown the version of yourself that absorbed other people's confusion. You have outgrown the version of yourself that settled for partial truth, half effort, or unstable energy. And now, as Michael lifts the final veil, he shows me a profound image. You, standing tall, not bent under emotional weight, not dragged by fear, not slowed by uncertainty, but standing in full authority, full clarity, and full spiritual alignment. What is coming next is not the exposure of someone else alone. It is the revelation of yourself. The you that has been forming beneath the surface. The you that has been awakening through every difficult moment. The you that heaven has been shaping through invisible battles and silent victories. You are stepping into a season where you will finally understand why things didn't work out the way you hoped. Why certain people pulled away. Why certain connections grew quiet. Why certain opportunities collapsed. Why your spirit grew restless. Every delay was protection. Every ending was redirection. Every disappointment was a doorway you weren't meant to walk through. Michael reveals that once the exposure fully arrives, which is closer than you realize, your spirit will enter a realm of peace you have not felt in a long, long time. A peace that doesn't wobble with other people's moods. A peace that doesn't disappear when someone grows distant. A peace that does not rely on external reassurance is a peace born from divine clarity. A peace born from knowing that heaven is orchestrating everything around you with precision. And child, the blessings that come after this exposure are not small. Heaven has been holding something back, not to deprive you, but to protect you. A connection, a breakthrough, an opportunity, a transformation that has been waiting for the exact moment your spirit would be strong enough to hold it. Heaven refuses to pour new oil into an unstable vessel. That is why the clearing had to happen first. You are stepping into a future where your heart no longer bends toward people who do not know how to hold it. You are stepping into relationships that feel like peace, not confusion. You are stepping into purpose that feels natural, not forced. You are stepping into blessings that come without emotional chaos. You are stepping into spiritual clarity that cannot be shaken by anyone's uncertainty. Michael wants you to understand this deeply. You are not walking into a lesser season. You are walking into your ordained one. You are not being left behind. You are being propelled forward. You are not losing someone. You are gaining yourself. And once you gain yourself, heaven brings everything else into alignment. There will be signs of your new season. The heaviness lifts. The anxiety dissolves. Your sleep becomes deeper. Your mind becomes clearer. Your heart becomes stronger. And a new flow of divine opportunities begins moving toward you like a rising tide. This is your moment. This is your shift. This is your alignment. Michael stands over you with a sword of protection and a mantle of clarity. What once confused you will no longer touch you. What once drained you will no longer access you. What once held you emotionally will no longer shape you. You are free. You are rising. You are stepping forward into the version of yourself heaven always saw within you. The message is complete. The revelation is yours. The next chapter begins now. Before we close, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe so more souls can walk into the clarity heaven is releasing through this message. Your engagement does more than you know. It becomes a beacon that guides others toward truth. Type "I step into my destiny" in the comments if your spirit feels this shift. Blessing code 1017 is now released. Just as this message has lifted a veil from your spirit, your support helps lift darkness from the lives of countless souls searching for God's voice in their most fragile moments. When you give, you are not sustaining a platform. You are igniting a spiritual rescue for someone who feels the same heaviness you once carried. The word of the Lord becomes alive when we act, and today heaven is whispering, "What you release for my kingdom, I will multiply back into your life." I am inviting you, not casually but prophetically. The theme of this message is exposure and elevation, and your act of giving through Super Thanks membership, where the PayPal link in the description becomes a seed that activates heavenly elevation over your own home. May every supporter be wrapped in divine protection, covered in supernatural provision, and marked by breakthroughs that others will call miraculous. Step forward boldly, and let your support become the very key heaven uses to unlock your next blessing.